Mm. Hey y'all, welcome to the Devon A. Morris Unfiltered Call-In Show. Have a seat. Let's get ready. You have any questions? Come on, call in. Come on to that Discord channel. Do me a favor, get the unfiltered crew some finger snaps. We're ready to get started here. Mondays, 8 p.m. Every single Monday, we're here. I'm excited about it. Are you? Let's get this show started, y'all. The greatest Scrum show on earth. I'll see y'all soon. Enjoy. Hey, everybody. See, my volumes are good. Look like we're ready to go. So, if you don't know me, my name is Devon Morris. I'm your guide for this journey. I'm a certified Scrum trainer, and then I got a lot of other certifications as well. So, I've been doing this Agile thing since like 2005. Own a little company called Bearded Eagle. Do a bunch of Agile training, and that's just kind of what I do, right? Other than that, this show, the Unfiltered Show, where we talk about Agile, entrepreneurship, all those wonderful and great things, right? So we're going to answer your questions. Our topic for the day, though, is going to be about unleashing Agile beyond software. So I'm going to talk about this. This is exciting, right? Because I'm going to talk about Agile outside of the software development space, right? And we'll hit some keys, some things that are in common in terms of success for those places outside of Agile beyond software, right? And we'll hit some key things, right? Some of you all, I use Scrum personally all the time, right? I may talk about it at some point in the future, but I'm gonna talk about that today. So this is gonna be an exciting one, right? What is going on with me? Oh man, I got CSM classes going right now, but you know what? I got an Agile descaling. I'm in a conference this week, this Friday. It was a one-day conference about descaling. If you don't know about descaling, you know about scaling. Think about the opposite of scaling, right? You scale, things don't work well. It's time for us to descale, right? So I'll be talking about that and that topic. Man, you know what? I'll show you all at least the front page, right? So I should have the front page here somewhere. If I do, I'll show it to you real quick. Don't look like I got the front page right here on my thing, but I'll show it to you later, right? But that's gonna be fun for me. I'm actually looking forward to that. It'll be the first time I've done something like that, since the pandemic, because again, I slowed everything down once the pandemic happened, and now I'm gonna jump out there a little bit and just remind people that I do exist in some way, maybe. So that's gonna be fun. So I got an hour on the stage, and I'm gonna have fun with the people that's there. It's a pretty good presentation, but I'll make sure that I grab it and at least show y'all the topic and stuff like that, so you know it's coming. But it's a one-day conference about descaling with the Agile Alliance, not the Scrum Alliance. And I'm gonna go to the Scrum Gathering this year, and I'm gonna go to the Agile Alliance conference in whenever month it is, July. All right, so I'm gonna jump out there and do a few things. Biggest thing I'm trying not to do is catch COVID. Every time I know anybody close to me that's gone to a conference, they come back with COVID. So I don't want to catch COVID. That's what I don't want to do. Not that I feel like it's gonna kill me, because that's not the reason why. I have a sick aunt, and she's really sick, and so I can't bring that kind of stuff home, if that makes sense, right? So I'm real careful about, when I get into crowds and putting on a mask and stuff like that, because I don't want to, she has an compromised immune system is the best way to put it, right? So y'all do me a favor. I do not have LinkedIn open, but for my folks on LinkedIn, join us on the YouTube channel. That's where we do all the interaction. Facebook, if you're there, guess what? I really do the Facebook thing for my mama. Just to let you know. But LinkedIn folks, definitely come jump over here and join us. We'd love to see you. If you haven't done so already, most of you all here have probably liked and subscribed, because this is what we do all the time. And we just have a little bit of good fun, right? it feels like I get less questions when I do this whole presentation thing, right? So like the presentation thing has decreased the number of questions that people come with, right? Also, do me a favor. You know how I do. I'm gonna give you a shout out when I'm done with the actual beginning parts of this. So do me a favor. Say hi in the comments so that I can make sure that I, give you some proper respect, proper dues, right? I see people already that I love already here, always come through and support. And we're just gonna make sure we have a good time, okay? So that being said, I think I'm gonna jump into this topic. So let's really do that, right? So Agile, unleashing Agile beyond software. There are some of you in the room, right, who have been around Agile for a long period of time, right? And if you've been around Agile for a long period of time, you know that the entire Agile industry, period, has grown up in software development. You absolutely know that, right? And so, obviously, these nice things within the Agile landscape just started to bleed over to other places, right? And for me, in particular, I started seeing things like a Agile manifesto based on marketing, right? That's with a marketing focus to it, right? An Agile manifesto for education, an Agile manifesto for these various things, right? And so for these other industries that aren't really software development, right? And so another key thing that started happening for me that I noticed is that I've been a certified Scrum trainer since 2013, and I noticed that in my classes, I started seeing groups of different types of people joining the classes. And I remember many years ago noticing lots of HR people, especially when I would have classes in Dallas Fort Worth, right? I would notice lots of HR people were showing up, right? I remember noticing a lot of education people showing up, right? And for me, that was like, wait a minute, wow. And then, seeing situations where I'm going to a high school and the kids are using Scrum, and Scrum is the thing that they're doing, right? To being tapped on the shoulder in an organization that also did some manufacturing and saying, hey, how can we take some of this and pull it over here? You just seeing these little movements over time have been really helpful. And what I want to do is give you at least some ideas. So here's the deal. Let's talk about this beyond software thing, right? Because this is not a new movement. Please do not think that this is anything new. But I want to talk about, at least at this point, what some of these key places where we've seen Agile kind of rear its head, if that makes sense. And again, when I'm saying Agile, I'm talking about any of the methods associated with Agile, right? Scrum, Kanban. Kanban was around in the 1940s, right? It's created by Toyota. It's been borrowed by us Agilists. So these things exist in places, but I'm really talking about the Agile flavors and how Agile really just kind of bounced over there, right? So here's the first one that I really want to talk to you about, right? And that is going to be Agile and manufacturing. This one is interesting. I remember years ago, and I don't remember what, it was a Scrum gathering in DC. And collectively, people at that time built a car with Scrum while at the gathering, right? A little bit outside, but while at the gathering, built a car, right? There was a guy who was using Scrum to help build cars, right? That was his company. And so this actually really happened. But I'm going beyond that because, that's a little bit different. But when I think about Agile and manufacturing, I'm thinking organizations that are pushing out thousands and thousands of pieces of something that look the exact same, right? So, these car companies, places like these planes, Boeing, people who build jet engines, right? These are people that I've personally experienced, right? Cell phones being built. And here's the deal. when you think about the core principles associated with agile in manufacturing, you'll see that one of the biggest things is a customer focus, right? And responsiveness. Now, I would say to you, that may be a thing that is a lot more associated with lean, right? And this lean and scrum thing does a balancing act, right? They always have this thing that they do together, but lean's been around for a long time, right? But the idea in manufacturing is that these agile principles have been helpful. And so some other core principles that you would see in terms of agile manufacturing would be finding ways to be more flexible, right? Finding ways to be able to adapt and change things, right? Continuous improvement and innovation. I think that's always been a part of manufacturing. But here's the deal. This one right here, collaboration across functions. Sometimes within manufacturing, that station does what that station does, and that's all that they really do. But finding ways to look at the whole, right? Looking at the system is important. Finding ways to empower teams, leveraging technology and data, and then continuous value stream optimization. Not that the value stream is an agile thing, because the value stream has been around prior to the movement of agile, seriously, right? But it has helped bring a new eye, a new perspective in terms of the value stream. So there are definitely core principles when it comes to agile in manufacturing. But here's the deal. What has agile in manufacturing done? When you look at the success stories of agile in manufacturing, you see some common themes. And also you see I'll have some tips in terms of implementing them, right? And here's the deal. When you think about it, the first one is customization at scale. One of the biggest things that I've seen when it comes to agile in manufacturing is the ability to customize with these bigger systems, these bigger flows that exist. You're not talking about when you go into one of these factories at one of these car companies, it's huge, right? It's huge, right? They're building whole cars. And when you start thinking about customization at scale, this is a common theme of success when you think about agile in manufacturing. Another thing that's really important is reducing time to market. Because at the end of the day, we want to get pieces out faster. We want to decrease cycle time. And that's been one of the benefits that you would see in common when Agile is used in manufacturing. Also, enhanced collaboration and innovation. And then the last one is improved operational efficiency, right? So realistically, those are advantages or things that I've seen in common across the implementations. Now, when you are implementing, though, you have to make sure that you embrace digital transformation. You really do, right? You got to pull in technology. You want to develop cross-functional teams as best you can, right? Where it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but then on a larger scale, right, you can think about how to do that at scale. Fostering a culture of continuous improvement and making sure that you find ways to leverage customer feedback, incorporating that as best you can. You know, there are companies that already do some of that stuff really well. Like Toyota would be an excellent example of that. But also Toyota has brought Agile in, not just in software development. Have brought Agile in to help out with some of the stuff within manufacturing. They've done that, right? And that's a good thing. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to say this to everybody in the room here. I know I got a lot of Agilists here, no question. But have any of you all been to a manufacturing plant? Been to a place where it is a defined process and they are developing whatever they're developing using this defined process? Have you walked into any organ? Forget whether it's Agile or not. I'm not worried about that, right? Forget whether it's Agile or not, right? If you have, tell me what type of manufacturing they were doing. Just kind of raise your hand in the comments. Let me know what type of things they were manufacturing. And do you think that they would be able to benefit from incorporating some of the Agile stuff? Anybody in the room, right? Because I'm assuming that most people haven't, right? I've sought out going to, car manufacturing plants. I've sought out organizations that have a manufacturing arm because I'm a Six Sigma black belt, and being able to utilize those skills, I like to do from time to time, right? So it's important for me. But a lot of people don't do that. So if any of you all have that experience, please drop it in the comments. Let me know. By the way, like and subscribe, because this is what we do all the time. Let's keep it moving, right? Let's keep it moving. So the next group of things that I want to talk about is going to be Agile in education. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this one right here is really super exciting for me, right? Years and years ago, there was a high school in Phoenix, Phoenix. Yeah, it was Phoenix. And I would travel as a volunteer, right? High school that they created that was full of students who weren't doing well in regular high school, and they were using Scrum in the classroom. It was full of people that looked like me. So when I walked through the door and they saw me being the first black certified Scrum trainer, they was like amazed, right? But again, it's kids that come from the same neighborhoods that I came from. And when I tell you, I was beyond excited, right? Just as much as they was excited to see me, I was excited to see them. And when I tell you the benefits I seen, it was off the charts, right? It was off the chain. It was ridiculous, right? So let's talk about this as well, right? Some of the core principles that I've seen. First and foremost, curriculum development, right? You have to think about the curriculum in a different way, right? You really do. You really, really do. If you don't think about curriculum in a different way, it's going to be hard to do. Classroom management. Man, I'm going to tell you, when you see high school students managing the classroom, and I'm not saying there's no adults around. I'm not saying there's no adults. But when you see high school students doing this, you understand? I mean, it's just next level for me, right? Because I know me as a kid from the south side of Chicago, I would have benefited from that. Really, I would have, right? Next, enhanced student engagement. What I seen for sure was that. And another key aspect is personalized learning, right? I find that a lot of students who do have behavioral issues, they need more personalized learning. Sometimes they're just smarter and we're just not keeping up with what they can do. Other times they need more help, right? To catch them up. Whatever that is, the idea is that learning needs to be personalized for them and they would be more interested in it. I was a kid that was well ahead of whatever they talked about within the classroom, and I was bored, right? I get A's, but I was still extremely bored, and I miss a day a week of high school, right? I dropped out of high school. But if I wouldn't have dropped out of high school if I was interested, right? But I wasn't interested, right? So finding ways to change that, I think, is just major pluses, right? Now, that being said, here's the deal. What I've seen is improved student performance, right? In every key area, just it improves. Even on those standardized tests that they tend to give to kind of prove whether your students meet a certain mark, they do well in that area too, right? And so standardized testing, I don't support in that kind of way, but the idea is that these students were able to outperform anything that they had done before. Also, autonomy is key. And you see a lot more autonomy when it comes to supporting Agile within education, right? Also, there's faster adaptation to change. You'll see that as a part of everything, right? So just another big plus. Now, look, in order to implement this, you gotta educate the teachers. The educators have to have this information. The educators gotta understand Agile. They gotta be in support of this because you need them to be able to implement this, period, right? Iterative curriculum design. You gotta change the way that you deliver things, right? Student-centered learning environments and, continuous feedback and improvement is gonna be a part of all of these things, right? So it can be done, and there are manifestos or guides in terms of Scrum in education in particular. And so you can go out there and research that, and you'll find some resources. Trust me, right? So nothing but goodness, right? But definitely something I've been involved in, and if you have not, find a way to get involved in some of that stuff, right? Okay, we don't stop there. One of the biggest things that I seen early on was a lot of human resource people started to show up. I mean, just out of the blue, there was human resource people showing in my class in droves, and I just didn't understand initially, because I didn't look at human resources. I looked at marketing and manufacturing, but human resources have never been my thing, and so I didn't look at that in the same way. But man, they were showing up, man. And the thing is that what they were focusing on more than anything else was talent acquisition and onboarding. Some of the biggest things that they need to do, how to deal with performance management in a different way, increasing employee engagement and retention, right? And then learning and development, right? These are the key principles of what they were trying to improve. Now, the success that I've seen has been increased campaign. Wait a minute, did I just do human resources, right? Increased campaign effectiveness, right? Enhanced team productivity and morale, faster response to market changes, and higher customer service, right? Yeah, all really important, right? And my statement is really, if you're going to do that, make sure that you start off small. Always will say that. Start small. Train and educate people. Use Agile tools as best you can see that they will fit. And then iterate and learn. Just make sure you iterate and learn and keep iterating and learning, right? I haven't been able to dive deeper into that, because what ends up happening is it's just, I've been in legal departments. I've been in HR a little bit, but maybe once or twice. But I was dealing with HR stuff prior to that movement. And, I just didn't have all the tools, right? But I've seen it be successful, and I just love what they were doing. And there's literally an Agile, I believe I know there's an Agile marketing manifesto, right? Let me see if they're Agile, let's see, human resource manifesto. Could be. I have never checked for that one, right? But I'm looking for it right now. And just a lot of groups just started creating these different things. And so I'm just looking it up real quick, see if I see it. Yep. An Agile HR manifesto does absolutely exist out there. I'll drop it on YouTube, the link, so you can take a look and see. But if you go look up Agile Marketing Manifesto, Agile Manifesto in education, you will see other manifestos that exist. But that's an example of it, right? And so those things I love to see, because it focuses on the work that they're doing, right? Absolutely does, and they do the signing of it and everything else. It's pretty cute. I love it, right? I love it, right? The next thing I'm going to talk about is Agile in marketing. This is another thing that, I had some CSTs who just really went heavy in this. This is something I've never gone heavy into, but it is something that I just seen a lot of movement in over the years. And you started off with its core principles, right? Rapid iterations over big bang campaigns, responsive planning over rigid planning, rigid planning, cross-functional collaboration over silos and hierarchies, data-driven decisions over opinions and conventions, customer-focused campaigns over internal focused messages. Here's the deal. I add that for a simple reason, because, that thing is big. Let me make that smaller. I add that for a simple reason, because this is what I noticed, right? Or at least this is stuff that would have been in the manifesto, right? And so I add that to show that to you. But here is some of the things, at least success stories or through lines, right? Faster hiring, right? I mixed them up. So, all right. So this is really the HR one. The other one was the actual, I mixed them up, y'all. That's my fault. So this is the success stories. That's the reason why I was questioning, like, no, this can't be true. So the one for marketing is the one I did before. So let me go back to that one, right? Here's the one for marketing. Increased campaign effectiveness, enhanced team productivity, faster response to market changes, higher customer satisfaction, and then pilots, training, education, Agile tools, iterate to learn makes sense. That all makes sense, right? Now, the HR one, These were the ones for HR. I just mixed them up. I don't know how I did that. Faster hiring, improved customer satisfaction, improved adaptability. Just make sure you start small, train the HR people, make sure things are cross-functional in terms of teams and collaboration, and then make sure you embrace technology in that arena as well. So realistically, all these things are just pluses. It's just a part of what we do. Now, I did confuse the last two, but at least I just straightened it up, okay? What do I find these things have in common, right? In common, right? The benefits are really simple. Increased flexibility, enhanced collaboration, customer-centric approach, continuous improvement. And then really the biggest challenges in terms of implementation is things you're probably used to. The culture and it's shifting, training people and making sure we got the right skills, and tailoring the agile practices. Now, the statement is people always act like we don't tailor the agile practices for regular software development stuff, but y'all know every single person in here does hybrids, right? You do a hybrid version of Scrum within your organization. So, we're used to tailoring. So we won't pretend like that's something different in terms of software development, but across all these other areas, it's the same. It's the same. Here's my question for you. Where have you seen Agile, a movement of Agile beyond software, outside of the software development world? Have you seen it in HR? Have you seen it in marketing? Have you seen it in education? Have you seen it, right, in manufacturing? And if you have, were they having success? What is something that you noticed that felt different? Drop that in the comments for me, because I cannot be the only one that has experienced Agile outside of software development. Some of you all have, there's no question. And I'm curious, what are your thoughts? What area did you kind of come to? And then what did you notice about it that was different, right? And I would tell you, pretty much for me, probably the biggest thing that I noticed, the biggest difference that I noticed across all of these things were a higher level of engagement, a higher level of enthusiasm, higher levels of morale, motivation for the people that were getting the job done, for the people that was involved in the process, right? Even if it had not had no impact on management or the results or whatever, the people who were a part of those Agile teams in some kind of way were just more enthused. They were a lot happier at work. They seemed like they had the ability to have an impact in a way that they never could have an impact before. And then the most exciting of those things would be Agile in education, because we're talking about people who are excited about improving the lives of kids, right? And that's a major thing. That's a plus, right? So I'm just like, a lot of those things hit me right here in the heart, and I just love it, right? So it's just one of those things where we are doing this outside of software development, and hopefully some of you have experienced it. I see, that, Patrick here, manufacturing in terms of just time concepts, but still in a hybrid setting. Yeah, it would be, and I tell you, Patrick, if you can experience, true manufacturing, where they're actually building a physical product, right? If you can experience that and then see how the Agile concepts can have an impact on the outcomes associated with it, right? So one of the biggest outcomes that we talk about, as you say, is time concepts, but cycle time. That would be a major one, right? How to improve cycle time. A lot of the Agile processes can assist with that, right? In terms of thinking about the values and principles, and the application of those things in those settings and seeing the changes, it does something to you, man. It really, really does. So I would encourage jumping out there and seeing it really in action. And even if you don't see it in action, I recommend everybody here, like literally, go to a manufacturing organization, even if it's just a tour. I know when I was in San Antonio, Texas, Toyota built a plant down there, and they were doing the Tundra, I do believe, at that time. And they actually had tours. I didn't work for them, but I went for a tour because I wanted to see what they were doing. See what they were doing, right? And just going on a tour, I think, could be helpful, right? So if you get an opportunity to just see manufacturing happen real time, I would encourage everybody here to go do it, right? Because it's going to change how you think about things. Realistically, it will. Let's see. HR, the intro to Workday in the company. I was not involved, but met someone from HR in a Safe 6 class. Yeah, she wants to set up a meeting with me so I can inquire more about that at the time. Yeah, I mean, literally, when I say to you, when them HR folks were showing up, it was like a movement. Like, it was like a movement, especially in Dallas, Fort Worth. Like, I find, at least in my experience with training, is that in various parts of the country, different movements are happening. But at this time in Dallas, Fort Worth, right, whatever year that was, when I say HR people was coming through the class, sometimes half of my class was HR people. And it was just like, this was when I was doing face-to-face classes, nothing virtual, anything like that. And I'm telling you, they had a lot of questions, right? And it wasn't just one company. That's the key. It wasn't just one company, because I wouldn't consider the movement if it was more than one company, if it wasn't more than one company. But when I tell you, it was just like company after company after company. And then when I started to investigate, I started seeing articles that were talking about it. And so I guess people were catching on to this from articles, or they may have heard of it at a conference that they went to. But it just was just this nice little movement. And I just was like, I never really thought about that. Yeah, I have dealt with HR people, but never had the opportunity while I was in organizations to really interact while I'm interacting with them, instead of saying, hey, can we change a policy? Can we change how you think about a particular role? Can we get a role of Scrum Master on the books? That's not the same. That's not the same, right? But I'm talking about really in the activities that they do on a daily basis, how it impacts there is more what I'm thinking about, right? So to me, having an opportunity to jump in there and have those conversations, I think would be amazing. Right? I think would be absolutely amazing. And for anybody, I would encourage it. I mean, I would literally encourage it. You're going to learn so much stuff, right? And I'll ask you, drop it in the comments. What have I missed here, right? Because I'm not the only one. I cannot be the only one that's experienced. Some of you all have just as much experience as me. Been around this whole thing, and sometimes it's not about how long you've been around, it's how dense your experiences are, right? And so I'm curious, because I do Scrum, I do things beyond software, tons, right? I seek it out, right? I'm trying to think. I'm gonna focus on it more, probably, right? Because it is catching my attention more. All right, so that being said, I see we're here. I see people in the comments. Let me go ahead and say hi. We'll close that topic out for the day, so make sure you say hi so I can give you a shout out, because I think those things are important. As always, like and subscribe. Love for you to do that as well. But here's the deal. Let me go. Patrick, always good to see you, brother. You know how it goes. Jamila, how's life been treating you? Hopefully you're well. Everything's good. You're knocking things out. Miss White, always good to see you as well. I know you be doing great things. Fabian, how you doing? Hopefully things are going well for you as well. And now let's go ahead and just pull back for a minute. What kind of questions do people have, right? What kind of questions do people have? People haven't had a lot of questions this year. So what kind of questions do people have? Now, if you want to join the show live, you're welcome to do that. I'll drop it in the comments, right? What kind of successes you've been having? Once again, if you're on LinkedIn, I'll go over there and I'll drop that. But I gotta get on that because I didn't have the LinkedIn open up live. So yeah, just nothing but goodness, man. I just love how these things operate, at least for me, right? So let's see. Let's jump in for a minute over there, and then we'll make it all work. Yeah, that's last week. So yeah, well, I should be live. I don't see myself live on that. That's okay. It happens. So I don't look like I'm gonna be able to just jump over there to double check on y'all. But again, we get a YouTube out all the time. Come on over, join us on the YouTube to interact, right? That's why I normally do the classic interaction with everybody. So let me come back over here to YouTube and let's see. You all may not have any questions, but that's what we're here to do. Answer questions about Scrum, Agile, and all that kind of stuff. Man, I'm just thinking to myself, I think probably sometime soon I'll be going to work with another organization to do some work. I'm balancing that in this PhD. The PhD is kicking my butt this term. I mean, it's kicking my butt, right? Really, I don't have nothing else to do, but I'm working on that all the time, right? So it's just crazy. And it's torturing me to some degree. All right, so have you seen companies moving away from Agile and Scrum and downsizing those roles? The answer to that is yes. Yes, absolutely. I've seen several big companies fire tons of Agile people. Literally. Like, no joke. But when we talked last week, the companies that I have personally seen that are getting rid of Agile people are companies that have been doing Agile for a long time, where it's not a new thing, where it's just not a new thing. They've done 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 transformations, right? And they got all these Agile people, and the Agile people are just kind of there, right? I think last week when we talked, the places where I've seen less of that have been the places that the Bureau of Labor and Statistics actually, say that, hey, job gains are being done there. And those places where I've seen less of that would be this list right here, right? Let's get rid of your comment there. Healthcare, I haven't seen that happen in healthcare. I don't see that happen in the government. Food services, in terms of working for companies that do that at this point, I haven't done that recently. Social assistance, transportation, warehousing, haven't done any of those recently. But government and healthcare, I've definitely been in. I haven't seen that happen in those arenas. But in terms of finance, I've seen it. In terms of insurance, I've seen it, right? And most of those companies, finance, insurance, guess what? A lot of them had to jump into the Agile kind of game to be competitive with the rest of the competition, the rest of the companies that's already doing it. So I see that happening in those places, but not in sectors or in industries that seem to be fairly new at that, if that makes sense, right? But the ones that's been doing it for a long time, I definitely have seen that happen, right? It's an interesting thing because a lot of people, kind of point like the world is falling apart in terms of Agilists. Like Agilists are losing their steam. They're losing their opportunity to be out there and command good salaries, right? I don't think that's the case, right? I also think that Agile is getting more commoditized, right? Because once we did this virtual thing, if you are remote, they can get a remote person from anywhere, right? And so they can get remote people that are pretty good from other countries that may pay a lot less, right? So the globalization thing is one thing, but what I've just noticed is that companies that actually have been doing it for a while have been companies that I've seen. And definitely in Dallas, Fort Worth, where I pretty much live at, there are a few companies here, again, that's been doing it for a while that kind of shedded big groups of people. Other questions. So, Miss White, did that help you or what? I don't know. So you tell me. Hey, let me ask you, right? Was any of y'all here, did y'all see the total eclipse? Like, I'm serious. Did you see the total eclipse, right? I did. Like, I really did. I had the glasses. They're not here, right? But today, y'all, I seen something I never seen in my life. I mean, I live in the direct path of the eclipse. I literally was on my roof at an angle with the glasses on, looking at the eclipse, right? And I was there for the absolute total eclipse, right? It went on for about 4 minutes, right? I had never seen. Never seen. Like, never. And I know eclipses happened in my life, right? I have never seen anything like that in my life. Anything. The most exciting thing that happened to me today was that. I mean, it was like the best way I can describe it seeing you. I mean, I know there's gotta be pictures out there, right? The best way I can describe it is like a black disc, literally. The sun completely blocked with a halo of the sun around it. So we're getting no direct sun rays. No direct sun rays, right? None whatsoever. It got darker. It was almost like it was getting to be nighttime, but not deep nighttime. It just started getting to be nighttime. It got darker for sure, right? But when I say literally a black dot over the sun, no direct sunlight hitting me. So I'm like, take my glasses off. I can see it. I can see it. But as soon as one ray of sunshine came out, I had to put the glasses back on. Like, I literally said to myself today, if you are a flat earth person, something's wrong. Because there's no way a flat earth would reflect a sphere on another object. Like, there's no way. No way. No way. No way, right? No way. So, anyway, the point I'm making to you, right, is that it was amazing, right? The eclipse was super amazing. I have never experienced that in my life, and I will forever remember it. I tried to take some pictures, but that didn't work out. That didn't work out because the pictures, the sun still is powerful. So it was a smaller little black dot than what it should have been, right? But I'm talking about, you think about the sun and the whole thing was covered. Like the whole thing was covered, right? Like I never experienced that in my life. Never, ever, 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 ever. I'm 59, right? I've never experienced that, right? So when I say to you, it was amazing. Man, I am not lying to you, right? I saw it just come and come and come and come and come and come. And you know, like you see that crescent moon and you know, and it just come and it's covering it. And then boom, totally cover it. It was, never seen anything like that in my life. Like I literally said to myself today, I'm never gonna leave the city I live in. Like I'm never gonna leave it. Like I've never thought I would have that experience. And I actually did today, and that is amazing. Anybody in here was able to see it, even partial one, right? And you know, I have a daughter, and here's the deal. I got a daughter that's at IU, Indiana University, right? And she saw it because it was in a direct path. Right now, I'm in Texas. She's in Indiana, and she saw it too. So we talking about it. We experiencing it, not together because she was out there in the grass. They playing music and partying and everything. I can't say mine was a party. I just was on my roof. Like my roof is inclined and I'm laying back on the roof, just looking up. It was the dopest thing ever, man. It was the dopest thing ever. I loved it, right? Hey, man, yeah, man. I mean, when I tell you, man, it was worth it. It was worth it. I mean, I will say this, man. You know, it sounds like it's raining outside where I'm at. That's wild. I'm glad it didn't rain earlier. But here's the deal. What I would say, literally, is that it would have been worth going someplace to see it. Like legitimately, like going someplace to see it, it would have been worth it, right? I could see myself, if I ever want to do it again, traveling someplace to see it happen. Because it is, and I mean, you know, and literally when I say to you, Patrick, it was about 4 minutes of the total eclipse, like 3 to 4 minutes of the total eclipse. That's it. And then it was over. It was over. But while that moon was covering, oh man, when I say that was magical. Never seen nothing like that in my life, man. And the thing that's real crazy, right? The thing that I didn't really realize is that you really needed the glasses to see the eclipse occurring, right? As is occurring before it's a total eclipse, right? When it's partial eclipse, as is occurring, you can't look to see it except through the glasses. So you see it going over the moon, over the sun, and you see it going over, but you cannot see that with your naked eye. You have to put on the glasses to see that, right? And you shouldn't do that anyway because that sun was super bright. As soon as one ray came out, I was like, oh, that hurts, right? It was immediately hurting. But you could not see it. And those glasses, when I say those glasses were so dark, man, I want to grab a pair of glasses so you can see it. Don't look like it, right? But hold on. Let me go grab a pair of glasses, right? When I say it was dark, give me a second, y'all. I got to grab a pair of glasses. Yeah, seriously. These things was dark. I mean, I could not, you look at these glasses right here. These lenses, they're super dark. You understand? And the deal is, I literally can put these on and I can't see nothing. Like I can't see nothing. Nothing. If I come up here and do this, you can't see through that. You can't see through that. Like I couldn't put these on and walk. Like I would die. You understand? Because I can't see anything. Man, I'm telling you, man, it was the best thing I experienced. Like that was a worthy experience before I ever die. That's something I'm gonna think about for the rest of my life. I wish I could have seen it as a kid. I mean, I wish I could have, right? I wish I could have seen it in college. I wish I could have seen it any time before now. Somebody told me earlier it comes around every 40 years, so they'll see it in 40 years. I'm like, okay. I don't know. I haven't confirmed or denied that. I have not, right? Yeah, man. I mean, it's just like, when I say to you, I put them glasses on, so I had to position myself. Right? So and then wherever I'm at, I can look up. Because what happened was, I'm sitting up there, I put the glasses on, and I'm going to try to start walking. Man, I couldn't see anything. I'm about to kill myself on the roof. Now, understand, I'm on my roof. I cannot fall off my roof. You feel me? So I'm on my roof, and I'm like, let me put on the glasses and walk and look up as I walk. Man, I would have died. Y'all would have been like, the show would have came on and said Devon died. You understand? No, I didn't want to die. So them glasses, when I say, Jamila, them glasses were super dark, they was ridiculously dark, right? They were super dark. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Never, ever, 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 ever. But when I tell you, it was worth it. Boy, was it worth it. Boy, was it worth it. And the great thing for me is, all I spent was money on the glasses. I had to go nowhere. It just went right over my house. Like, it was worth it. Like, I've never experienced anything like that in my life, right? Yeah, man, it was super exciting, right? It was super exciting, right? I think I've lived through a eclipse vicariously through other people. I think I have, right? But it's nothing like seeing it for real. Like, it's nothing like seeing it for real, right? So next time there's an eclipse, if you've never ever seen it, put it on your list of to-dos. It is a phenomenal natural event that doesn't happen definitely enough, but it's definitely worth it. Like, I loved it. I absolutely love it, right? Definitely worth it. In my younger days, we would place a basin of water out, and you can see the reflection. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You can't look up at it. Yeah, no, that's really true. You can do that. And people, I had one of my ex-wives' colleagues went to a location. It was in Chicago. Went to a place in Southern Illinois, and actually got his telescope, connected the telescope to the camera, and was able to see the eclipse on the camera and take a really nice picture of it, right? And the picture looked amazing. Like, when I say the picture looked amazing, the picture looked very close to what I seen. The pictures that I took, they didn't look close. I mean, they didn't look close. I mean, they literally did not look close, right? When I say they didn't look close, they did not look close, right? If you look at, like, literally, when I say to you, you may be able to see this, you may not, right? But I'm going to show it to you anyway, right? Like, literally, that's the picture that I took. You see that? That's the picture I took. Okay? That's cool. It's a great memory for me, right? Let's get this to go back. It's going to come back in a minute, y'all. Right? Now, I'll show you the picture that was taken with a telescope. Right? Literally taken with a telescope, right? Telescope with a real camera. Like, I could have took my camera if I had, and really did it, but I wasn't that interested in all that, right? That's real work. And I didn't feel like doing real work, right? This is how it look. And this is a guy who actually went out there and did it, right? This is how it look. This is how it look, okay? Understand, this is how it look. You see that? That's how it look. For real. Now, when I saw it, the ring wasn't that big. The ring around it was much smaller, okay? And so it was like a crown, almost like a crown of thorns. So it was like thin ring. It wasn't this big ring. But you see that? You see that? Like, that is nice. Somebody's able to get that picture for real. Like, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I mean, but mine wasn't like that. Mine wasn't like that. Mine was like this. Let's see. It's going to get there. Mine is that. And theirs is this. Like, huge difference. Hold up. Make that bigger. Huge difference, man. I don't want it to focus on me. There we go. Huge difference, right? So, yeah, man. It was one of them days, man. When I say to you, I was happy. Boy, was I happy with all this stuff, man. I kid you not. Talking about happy. I was super happy. These glasses, they were the bomb. I mean, I bought the cheap stuff, right? And bought extra ones so that my family members could have some. But yeah, man, absolute bomb-tastic is what this was, man. You know, so yeah. So anyway, that was what my day was about. It's raining out there now. So I'm glad the rain didn't come and I was able to really see it, right? And then there was some clouds that happened for us right down here, which was cool. And I was just like, wow, this is great, right? So yeah, so, you know, that just is what it is, right? You know what? You need to apply Agile practices to your preparations for a better outcome. I would agree with you. But my problem here, Patrick, is I'm not an expert in photography. So I'd have had to spend a grip to figure it out, right? I mean, I got a really nice camera, like the camera that I have right here that I'm shooting me on. I could have used that camera, right? But I would have never thought about what to do to make that happen, right? My problem is my expertise isn't there. And so it's just not something I would have wanted, right? Like, I can see myself spending all this money and still end up with a regular picture. No. When I say to you the experience is what I will never forget, like seeing that for real, I'll never forget that, man. I'll never forget that. Like, I literally will never forget that, right? But yeah, you needed to, I needed to apply the Agile practices, right? That would have been helpful, right? I just don't have the domain knowledge about photography that would have helped me. So I'd have had to do a lot of reading, man. I would have had to do a ton of reading to figure that out for 4 minutes. For 4 minutes, right? Understand, it happened over 4 minutes. 4 minutes and that's it. You feel me? It's crazy. It's crazy. But I loved it. I'm telling you, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So yeah. So anyway, all right. So we get into the place where we about to shut it down because I don't have any questions. But man, when I tell you I love that, man. I'm glad I got somebody who had a picture of it. That right there was amazing. Like literally, when I say that was amazing, that was amazing. So that's hard to beat. You know, if I was into taking pictures like that, that'd be great. I'm just not. But that's how life rolls. You know, it's an interesting thing. Anyway, here's the deal. What shall we talk about next week? Well, I don't have no way. What we're going to talk about next week, I'm going to see if I can actually grab this and make sure that you all can see it. Because I think we're going to extend on what we talked about today. And I want to make sure that you all see it so that we'll be good to go. Let me grab this information. Let me grab it so and then I can kind of throw it over there at y'all so you all can see it. But we're going to talk about, you know, a slightly different thing. And that thing we're going to talk about is this thing right here. Agile everywhere. transforming non-IT teams. That's what we're going to talk about next week. And then what I'm thinking about, well, I didn't show it. Let me show it. There we go. Agile everywhere, transforming beyond teams. That's what we're going to talk about next week, okay? What I'm thinking about, though, is also talking about personal Agile, how I use what I call Scrum Fit. If you all don't know, I use Scrum in my everyday life. I call it Scrum Fit. That's what I've coined for it. And, it's time for me to start releasing it to everybody. So, if you're interested in that, let me know. But Scrum Fit probably will be coming. Yeah, man, I just, but next week, Agile everywhere, transform non-IT teams. And then probably the week after that, personal Scrum, right? Let's see, a lifetime of memories for sure, right? Yeah, definitely brings perspective to our existence. It just really showed me we live in, the universe is an amazing place, right? And just to be in this universe at this time, and being able to share these moments with many, many, many people across the world, like I'm blown away. I'm blown away, right? But on that note, hey y'all, this has been great. Hopefully you all enjoyed what we're doing here. As usual, come on back next week. We're going to have the same kind of fun. You know what the topic is going to be, and we're going to just keep pressing and keep moving. We're here for your questions. Bring those questions if you like to bring those questions. Other than that, we're good to go. So, that being said, I'm going to say goodnight to you all. Make sure you have an amazing week. Do some great things for yourself. Do some great things for your teams. Other than that, make it a good week. I will see you all later. Peace, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.